Hey Geometry B students, and welcome to your first flipped lesson for the spring semester. So I'm going to go over a couple of things just in case any of you are new. So this is the first slide that you saw after the prep time slide, and you clicked on the link here to get to today's flipped lesson. Great job. Here you'll find the name of today's session. I have a B because this is Geometry B. I have a 01 because this is the first session of this semester. And then this is the name of the session that we have today, the course introduction. Down here you will find the agenda. Much of this will remain the same for each class period. So we have our 9 a.m. prep time work. That's what you're doing now. And then you have until 9:30 to finish your flipped lesson, your class starter, and all of the things listed on the prep time slide. And that's when we will begin to go over the class starter. Then we will go over the objectives for the day, which today we will be talking about how to be successful in geometry, and then we're going to go over the course calendar. Ideally, at 10:10, we will have closing time. We will dole out any focus incentives, which are rewards for participating as a group. And then at 10:20, we will conclude class, ideally, and you will complete the DFA or the WFA for that class period. So as you go through the slides, you'll see that your class starter is next. So you should be working on answering this before 9:30. You have your polling choices and you need to make sure that you pick an answer. If you don't have an answer by 9:30, you risk being removed from class. The next slide, you can see your announcements. There will always be a snip from the weekly calendar. You'll always have gating date information. You will have, here we have a link directly to your weekly announcement, so you can book that to help you there. And then if you have any announcement questions, you can come to live help, office hours, or ask a current events moderator if we have one. Be mindful of these key items you might see on the bottom of each slide. They're going to help you out with what to do on each piece of information. So if you see this guy, then that means I'm recommending that you take some notes. All right, who's who? So if you're returning, you know what this is, but if you are new, this will show you who the student moderators are for the day. Sometimes we'll have them, sometimes we won't. If you are interested in becoming a student moderator, then you will need to first complete the flipped lesson, and then you will fill out the geometry menu. You can find the link for that on the opening slide of every session. Here you'll be able to see which standards we'll be addressing that day, and then you'll be able to see the objectives for the day. And then you will get to a slide that's supposed to be here that says stop. And so that would be where you would stop for the day. Sometimes your vocabulary will be there as well. So that's what you need to do before 9:30 a.m. So now during the flip lesson time, there's the stop slide, out of order. I'll have to fix that one. During the flip lesson time, either I or a wonderful YouTube video will be going over the material that you need to learn for the day's lesson in brief to see how much you already know. So your two objectives today are to discover what it takes to be successful in geometry and to navigate the course calendar. So in this video, I'm going to focus on the course introduction. All right, so here is a snip of our course calendar. You can find this exact document in the course materials. If you'll see, I made a few changes to the way that it looks. This top part in green, this is what you do outside of class time, essentially. If you look at today's date, January 8th, what you should be working on today in the course is the course introduction and the readiness checkpoint. You will be receiving a completion grade for the readiness checkpoint. Here in the next row, you can see that there are links to additional resources, Khan Academy, if you would like to access those. And then in the next row, you can see which items need to be turned in that day. These are what are due. So you will have a teacher graded item that is going to be 2 of them actually, the readiness checkpoint in the course, and then also the DFA for week 1. That's going to be due today. On the 10th, Wednesday, you will have a computer graded item, this quiz about triangle similarity, and then a teacher graded item, WFA week 1. Now down here in the orange section, these are all grouped together because these deal more with the live sessions. We have our geometry live sessions are going to occur on Mondays and Wednesdays. So the majority of this orange section is only going to be in the Monday and Wednesday column. All right. So in this top row, you're going to see which lessons you need to have reviewed before you come to class. So you didn't have to have any lessons reviewed before coming today. But on Wednesday, you'll need to make sure that you review Unit 1, Lesson 2, and Unit 1, Lesson 3 before you come to class, okay? Then these will be links for the flipped lesson once they are posted. And then this next row is the name of the live session. So we just saw that on the opening slide a little while ago, and after the session is over, an hour or so, I will update this to represent the link as well. Now here's another additional thing that we didn't have last semester. These are recordings from previous semesters. They're all kinds of things, so you can check these out if you want. You don't have to. I might have said something differently then, so it's just, a potential resource. And then our very last row is our small group schedule. So if you're wondering what is on the schedule for a small group that day, you can check out this row. All right, don't forget that you can see the same thing if you look in your course page announcements. This will be posted every week. It'll be updated every week with the current week. And it has the same thing the calendar has, but additionally on top, it has some important information for this week. And then on the bottom, it has all this gating date and big deadlines due as well. All right, so if you are new, then one thing that I want to make sure that I point out is the way that I work and utilize the content. So the way that I assign the content is before the live sessions. So what you'll do is you will read through the content on your own first, and then we will meet together in our live session to cover any knowledge gaps. So if you look, this is a snip from our calendar later in the semester. So this is January 22nd. So if you look, we can see that you have Unit 2, that's what this is, Unit 2, Lesson 3, and then Unit 2, Lesson 4 up here in the content. But during the live sessions, we are doing Unit 1, Lesson 7, and Unit 1, Lesson 8, okay? So that means that you are supposed to do Unit 1, Lessons 7 and 8, in the previous week on your own, and then we meet to go over them here. Now you might be like, that's weird. We're doing Unit 2 here, and then Unit 1 down here. That doesn't make sense. Well, I want to make sure that you don't have to take the Unit 1 test until we have had a chance to meet together and go over all of the content and have a review session as well. So if you look, on this day, we have the Unit 1 test on January 24th, and that is also the day that we will review for it in class. So it is due the day that we review, okay? That's what's due there. Unit 1, Part 1, and Part 2. So keep that in mind. So sometimes you're going to start working on the next unit content before you've taken the test. Now, if you don't like that, that's fine. You can be off track of the content. That's totally okay. You can make what works for you work, and that's all right. Also, be sure to pay attention to the names of our live sessions because they show you as well which unit and which lesson we will be going over that day. Additionally, you can see the small group schedule down at the bottom. So this is for January 22nd as well. And so Mondays will usually be a unit test review after the tests have been graded. So you'll come to those Monday sessions if you want a chance to retake that test. You can only be invited to those Monday sessions if you have taken the test before the Monday sessions. Keep that in mind. And then Wednesdays are always going to be WFA reviews after they've been taken. So this will be the week after week 2 that we have that WFA review. Come to this session in order to earn an additional attempt on your WFA. All right, here are all your types of assignments. Okay, we have DFAs and WFAs. Those are changing this semester. I'm going to talk more about that on the next slide. We will have quizzes in the course. There's lots and lots of quizzes. Okay, there's almost a quiz for every single lesson. I cannot assign them all to you for a grade. Some of the quizzes are going to be optional, and they will say OPT for optional, and some will be required. The optional ones do not count towards your grade. All quizzes have 3 attempts, so try them, even if we haven't gone over it in class. If you don't do well, go over it in class with us, and then go try it again. If you still don't do well, then you can meet with me and ask questions, because you have 3 attempts on all quizzes. You also have unit tests. These all just have 1 attempt. You have readiness tests and interim tests. You have some that are in the course, and then some that are in our lovely DRC Insight program. We'll be having one of those coming up soon. You have computer scored tests and quizzes. These are all online. That fits into, these here, and then your unit part 1s. And then you have teacher graded assignments. Now here's a change. The teacher graded assignments are no longer going to be in assignments. My teacher graded assignments are going to be through your quizzes. Okay? So keep that in mind. I'm hoping that this will streamline some of the grading process and will cut down on delays in feedback. Now, let's look at this right here. You can retake tests. You can retake tests. Did you know this? You can earn additional attempts on pretty much anything that's computer graded. So on your Unit 1 Part 1 test, you can earn an additional attempt. You can earn additional attempts on WFAs by coming to small groups on Wednesdays. And then you can earn half credit back on teacher graded. So that would be basically just your Part 2s. If you do the work to earn the retake, you're getting just half credit back on that. So the way that you do this is fill out the request to retest form in the course materials, and you will have to attend a review session and review the questions you missed, and then you'll have to do 5 practice problems from that unit. Okay, so you can earn additional attempts. Here are some important changes. DFAs are changing. Where they once were summaries, now they are only going to be once a week, and they're going to happen on Mondays. You're going to complete them in class, and they're not necessarily going to be summaries. They can be anything pertaining to the content. So you'll have questions in there that you need to answer. They can be multiple choice questions. They're going to work kind of more like an exit ticket, but they're going to reflect the last 2 sessions, okay? So today you're going to take one. It's just going to reflect today. Next Mondays, well, we won't have school next Monday, but the following week, or when we have another Monday, when it works, it'll reflect that day and the previous Wednesday. And then WFAs are going to stay the same. Those are going to be now due officially on Wednesday because you're going to do them in class that day. All right, so that's all I'm going to cover for now, and we'll cover the rest in class, and we'll see how much of this material we can skip over depending on how well you do on the follow-up questions.